Have you ever felt like you've tried so hard, but the more you do, the emptier you feel? You start with passion, but halfway through the fire fades and you lose connection with yourself. If this April you're brave enough to pause and listen, you'll unlock a new journey, one where you attract money, love, and recognition, not by straining yourself, but with a truer, more aligned energy from within. You're an Aries, the trailblazer, the leader, but even the strongest need a moment of stillness to see where they're headed. And April is that moment. As the Sun and Venus leave your sign, it's time to stop running. Just turn inward, to live authentically, live true, and live for what makes you feel. You're truly here for a reason. 1. You do so much, but the more you do, the more meaningless it feels. You're living on schedule, fulfilling responsibilities, meeting the expectations of others like clockwork. Everything you do is fine, but inside it's hollow. You're not openly sad, but you no longer see a reason to keep pushing. And maybe you've asked yourself, why do I do so much and still feel so far from what I really want? The problem isn't your effort. It's that you're running, but you've forgotten what you're running for. This April, as the Sun moves out of Aries, it's like losing your compass. You keep acting the same way, but your inner energy has shifted elsewhere. That disconnect is why you feel like you're moving, yet going nowhere. This isn't laziness. It's about living differently each day, slower, with more intention, and truer to yourself. You don't need another plan. You need a morning with no alarm, no emails, no rush, and one honest question: what makes me feel truly alive? The moment you start asking, you start coming back. And when you live authentically, you won't need to force the fire, because real inspiration always finds its way back when you're in the right place. 2. You snap over small things, then feel guilty for overreacting. Lately, you've been quicker to anger than usual. A wrong tone, a slight delay. It sets you off. It's not because you're naturally hot-headed, but because inside you're overloaded, weighed down by things you haven't yet named. What you're feeling isn't just anger, it's a quiet cry for help from within. In April, as the Sun leaves Aries and brushes against Pluto's deep energy, everything you've been holding in or hiding starts to surface. You're used to tackling things with action, but now the universe is asking you to stop reacting and start listening, because emotions you don't acknowledge will always find a way to burst out, and often in the most hurtful ways. You don't need to force yourself to stay composed. You just need to be honest with yourself. Ask, what am I really upset about? Then write it down. Turn off your phone, take a walk, or just sit quietly and breathe. When you let yourself live authentically, even in your imperfect moments, you're not weakening, you're stronger than ever. If this resonates with you, you're not alone. Drop a comment below. Share a moment when you felt like you were pushing too hard. Not to complain, but to remind each other. So many of us are learning to slow down so we don't lose ourselves. 3. You have tons of ideas, but nothing ever comes to fruition. You once started something with all your passion, a project, a plan, a dream. Back then you believed you'd see it through, but a few days later the excitement faded. Everything stalled, and you blamed yourself. Why do I always give up halfway? It's not because you lack determination, it's because your inner energy is out of sync. Jupiter, the planet of vision, is moving away from Aries. Meanwhile, Saturn sits in Pisces, the realm of emotions and uncertainty. You're used to moving fast, pushing hard, but the cosmos is whispering, slow down to feel. The solution isn't to start something new, it's to revisit what you abandoned. Finish that half-written line, fold that pile of clothes, complete one small task, because every time you finish something seemingly trivial, you're sending yourself a powerful message. I'm someone who can follow through. You don't need grandeur to feel worthy. You just need to stay consistent with what's right, little by little, day by day, and that steady rhythm will guide you back to where your soul truly wants to be. 4. You feel like you're carrying everything while no one really notices. You're always the one who steps up, reminding others of appointments, cleaning up last, quietly taking on the unnamed tasks to keep things running smoothly. You don't complain or demand thanks, but deep down, you're starting to feel weary, not because the work is too much, but because no one truly sees how hard you're trying. As an Aries, you're born to lead, but that doesn't mean you have to do it all. This April, as your ruling planet Mars clashes with Ceres, the asteroid of nurturing, an old wound resurfaces, the feeling that you're only valuable when you're carrying the load. And if you stop, you fear you'll no longer matter. But now's the time to choose again. Choose to give at the right time to the right people. Choose to keep something for yourself. Try saying, "Can you help me with this?" Not because you're weaker, but because you're letting others step up too. And you'll see, the one who knows when to pause is the strongest of all. You deserve to be seen, to be heard, without trading your exhaustion for it. You don't need to strain to exist, just be yourself. And that's enough. 5. You still smile, still work, still chat, but at night you feel like you don't belong anywhere. You still laugh, still get things done, still reply to messages on time, but when night falls, when the noise fades, it's just you and an unnamed emptiness. It's not quite sadness, not quite stress, just a sense of not belonging anywhere. That feeling isn't because you're weak, it's because you've been pushing too hard, too long, living too fast, forgetting how to connect with yourself. This April, as the planets leave Aries where you once dove in and burned bright, you're like a warrior stepping off the battlefield. There's no reason left to keep fighting, and in that moment the universe tells you, stop. Not because you've lost, but because it's time to come back. Not every void needs filling. Some silences come just so you can hear your own true voice again. Ask yourself slowly, have I been living for what truly makes me happy lately? If not, you're standing at the edge of a transformation. And the only thing you need right now isn't to find answers. It's to have the courage to stay with yourself. In silence, in uncertainty, in slowness. April doesn't come for you to keep fighting. It comes for you to lay down your spear and look back at the path you've walked, where you've quietly carried so much, tried harder than you've ever dared admit, and now it's time to let yourself breathe. This isn't a pointless pause. It's a step back so you can hear the whisper from above more clearly. You don't need to strain anymore. You deserve to live lighter, and good things will come when you truly listen to yourself. If you want to transform, you don't need to do anything grand. Start small. A morning without rushing. A simple question. What do I really need today? A little object to carry. A reminder that you're still being guided. And when you feel overwhelmed, whisper, I ask to pause. I ask to listen. I ask to be led. Because sometimes the greatest transformation begins with the smallest prayer. If you're living in a haze no one sees, don't stay silent alone. Share what you're going through, even just a line, not for pity, but so those who feel like you know, they're not invisible, they're not alone. If you dare to shift, there's what awaits Aries after April. Money. May will bring a significant shift for Aries. You'll stop earning through burnout, chasing deadlines, or proving yourself to exhaustion. When you slow down in April and dare to face what's draining you, your financial energy in May will pivot. With the Sun and Venus aligning in Taurus, the sign of value, wealth, and ownership, it's like the universe is auditing your storehouse, what truly adds worth and what's just sapping your energy. If you've cleared out what wears you down, new space opens, and money starts flowing in, gentler, truer. Maybe an old project you gave up on suddenly sparks again. This time with patience, clarity, and less haste. Maybe an offer comes from someone who once overlooked you, but now sees the calm difference in your eyes and choices. Or maybe you simply say no to a draining income stream, and a cleaner, safer one finds you instead. Love. In May, you'll start attracting differently, not with the intensity, fervor, or all-out fire of before, but with a new energy, calm, steady, and whole from within. When you stop trying to prove you're interesting, strong, or needed, that's when you're truly loved. Aries is naturally magnetic, but that allure often comes with an invisible pressure. Because you're so intense, you tend to attract relationships that demand a lot from you. But if in April you dared to slow down, learn to be gentle with yourself, and stayed alone without feeling empty, then in May, the energy you radiate will shift. Someone who lives authentically, without forcing it or craving validation, carries a unique pull that doesn't require effort. You might start meeting people who don't need you to be the most interesting or the one who does the most. They just want you as you are, relaxed, sincere, and at peace within. For those already in a relationship, if it's been strained by expectations, silence, or unspoken truths, this is the time to breathe. When you stop straining and start voicing what you've held inside too long, the connection can heal. Because real love doesn't need effort, it just needs honest presence between two people, when neither runs, hides, nor tries to be someone else. And that kind of love is what's coming for you in May. Career. May is when you realize you don't have to push to be seen anymore. No need for dramatic breakthroughs, no need to outshine everyone in every game. When you live true to your essence, calm, focused, and clear, recognition comes more naturally than ever. Aries often puts pressure on themselves. I have to be better, stand out, prove something. But April taught you to slow down, to take intentional steps instead of charging blindly. And as you live deeper, truer, you create a new magnetic field. Not loud, not grasping, but impossible to ignore. Not because you do more, but because what you do carries weight. You'll notice it in meetings, in how others mention you, in how someone who once overlooked you now seeks your input. You no longer need to shout to be heard. Just speak true at the right moment, and that's enough. Those who didn't see you before will look at you differently because you're radiating an energy they can't ignore. Inner resolve. When you stop competing for a spot, the spot finds you, because someone who knows themselves and the value they bring always has a place, without needing to elbow their way in. In the end, the depletion of April doesn't strip you of what's precious. It only clears out what's worn out, what no longer fits. Habits of overexertion, relationships that drain you, expectations that no longer nourish you. And once those are shed, you'll see a new space open up where you can welcome what truly deserves to be there. If you move through April awake, meaning you don't avoid, don't fill the void, don't rush, you'll step into May like someone who's shed a heavy coat, lighter, truer, and strong enough to draw in what's truly needed for your next chapter. If this video helped you see yourself more clearly, share it with an Aries you care about. It might be just what they need to return to themselves. And if you'd like to journey together through the moons ahead, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We'll meet again at the next milestones on your path to growth.